A destiny without challenge will never bring it into reality. Being sober, be vigilant, because the sobriety and vigilance is what? Because your adversary, the devil, is roaring like a lion, is not a lion. Walking about, seeking whom, I like to see that word there, may. You know what to be done? Ndori, takasia. And there are people who are living a takasiad life. Ekwenso tariri obia. That all they have is concerns and pains until they never put themselves together. He said, give no place to the devil. Because be vigilant, because your enemy, the devil, is going about looking for whom he may devour. Now, I like the word may. May is if you permit. It's not a must that every challenge in your life will kill you. It's not written that every challenge you have, you will die. So it is your own choice. You have the option to live the way you want to live. What you are crying for now, somebody saw it and smiled. It became what challenged him to do something better. They say necessity is the mother of invention. I'm still going somewhere. James chapter number 1, verse 13. James chapter number 1, verse 13. For the first time, I'm using almost five scriptures to pick my subject. Let's read. Let no man say when he is tempted. It didn't say if he is tempted. Do you know the difference between the if and when? I taught you that in church. If means it may come or may not come. But when means it's a matter of time. If it's not happening yesterday, it can happen any day. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot tempt you with evil, neither tempt you with let any man tempt you any man. Go ahead. But every man when he is tempted, when he is drawn away by his own lust and enticed, then the lust, when it's conceived, your conscience swallows this, your subconsciousness, that's where your conscience is. When it takes it into your subconscious that you have taken it in, I will not release it though, he said, he bring it out for sins. And sin, when it is finished, bring out forth death. The Bible school yesterday, I was thinking of teaching on the makeup of the man's soul. The makeup of the man's mind, heart. The mind, the soul, the mind, the conscience, and the emotions. If you allow too many things stay there, you're going to come up with so many ugly things that are not godly. That's why it's in the book of Proverbs, guard your soul with all diligence, for out of it proceeds what? The issues of life. Too many of you are settled for trivials. The subject I want to share with this morning is the causes and effects, actions and consequences of everything we do in life. The causes. One thing you must understand, if you don't understand the principle of this terrestrial world, you will be trying to be a messenger here, a stranger here, because you don't know the operational principles of the earth. I gave you one the last 2 Sundays. The principles of nature. is that whatever gives you anything is that thing that will sustain it. When God said, let the fish come out of the waters, has the fish ever left waters? No. The day it leaves the waters, it will die. It's the law of life, law of nature. The trees, the earth brought out trees, is that not true? Detach a tree from the earth, it's gone. The moon and the star came out from this cloud, this firmament. Any day they fall, there will be no earth here. Because they're far, far bigger than here. Is that true? What is the source of man? God. The day man, for any reason, Ijekuru Mwadibia, Diji Aswaga and Diji Ruaga. Watch the envy of any man who does not know God. They cry on their bed. The world they think they have gotten, they did not eat. They are dying without even what they had, they thought they had. I told you a story about myself when I was younger, and I'm younger now. I'm a young boy. That was in Enugu. The woman who was the wife of our landlord saw the way I was maltreated in the house. One morning she said, Bia, John, she said, you're true person. So he took me somewhere around Asata in Enugu. And there was this man who calls himself Christian Scientist. Every hall, it has a hall like this. There's all manner of things molded, insects of different kinds at that place. So when we got there, they said, put off your leg. The woman went in first. They call it, I don't know, I think they call her brother master or something. He said, I brought you this man for you to, the young boy, for you to teach him, tell him about it. So the man shook his head. He said, no. They're punishing you. He guessed some money was right. Some of them were right. And then he told me, listen, I'm going to protect you. I said, how? I'll do this for you. I said, what will you give me? What will you do for me? He said, watch. I'm going to give you protection. He brought out a white chicken. The mother did Biakane. Debiana Kukyota, Wero Ekete, Buchea, butter petrol, Banyanin. Struck the matches like that and threw into it. The thing caught fire. Boom. He went, reached out for a sword. Take a sword and that wrap. He struck the market, the burning basket. Boom. The chicken walked out alive. You know what came out of my mind? I've told you that story before. Wow! And this chicken became psychedelic. And I asked the man, how did you get this thing? He said, my father got it from his grandfather. I know that. This is what it runs in our lineage. First thing that came to my mind, lineage in the way. I said, where is your father? He said, he has died. Where is your grandfather? They all died. And you that will give me this thing will one day die. So that thing is useless. If you were 300 years old, I would have followed you. But you are still a young man under 40. If the people who gave it to you died long time. Okay, here I just took my bag and walked away. The woman that brought me saw the Keda and Nifa. Saying, well, Monte, I wouldn't talk about Nifa. That was the end. So I walk on my jaw there, I don't believe in it. That was the reason why I gave myself a name. Mona Chimso. I'm sharing what I'm sharing this morning so that you will find out that consequences are just the normal way life operates. Every action you take, you pay for it. The church will not teach you to examine yourself properly. Every time you have problem, they tell you it's one devil that is there. Check your Bible. There are only two things that men of old could not understand: Leviathan and Behemoth. Whale and what? Dinosaur. That's what they call that thing. No force on earth is greater than the force of man. Man is the owner of the earth, not the devil. What he owns is the world. He doesn't own the earth. My Bible tells me that the earth is the Lord's. That's the Chukwumwe. And the fullness, that Chukwumwe. And the men that dwell in it. But God does not own the world. He owns the earth. Now, question: what is the difference between the world and the earth? I know you will ask that question. Is that not true? What is the difference? Now, the earth is what God made. The world is the governing influence. When Adam sold away, that thing is sold away. It was the ability, dominion, to rule the earth that he gave out. He didn't give out the earth. Because you can't own what you don't have. The governing influence of the earth is what is called the world. What shall it profit a man if he loses his soul, seat of intellect and connection to God, for just to become governor or become chief staff? Put it in a simple way. What will you get from after you have gotten all this and you lose the very connection and life that you have? Remember, when God met Adam in the garden, when he created him in Genesis chapter 2, Adam had life, but not enough life that can be called the life of dominion. So God put his breath into his nostril. He became what? A living soul. So when life is not in your soul, you are a dead walking man. It is not true that Adam was lying on the ground. Whatever God does, he has a plan before he finishes it. So when man came, man was living. It was just he does not have the breath of God. It's called the Zoe of God. The living power that can take dominion. When Adam was stripped of it, was he dead? After the sin, he lived 900 and something years. Was he dead? It was, because the connection to life is God. Life is God. It was disconnected from it. I don't care what an unbeliever has. I don't care what you have when you don't have God. You are like a dead man who has properties. Did you get what I'm saying? Okay. Please come with me. I'm trying to make a point this morning, and if you understand it. The word consequences is the byproduct of whatever you do, the result, end result. The because is because you did something, and this is the cause. This is the cause that became real because of what you did before. That's what I call because. It's a sequel to, as a result of something, sequel to. It is a therefore. It is as a result of what you have done in the past. These are the languages of consequence. Everything in life, good, bad, relationships, business, great understanding, success in life, just name it. A good relationship with somebody, a good relationship with the husband and wife is a byproduct of actions that we have taken. You will never have a great company by praying. You never become the best designer by praying. Geoffrey. You never become a great CEO by praying. Prayer is important. It is not the master key. Wisdom is. You know what a master key is? It opens every door. But prayer does not open every door. When you put wisdom behind and you take prayers before, you are engaging in exercise that will come out with a lot of futility. Religious people will teach you that if you pray, when you are doing nothing, God will come down and forget those who have walked and then give it to you because you prayed. Have you seen footballers? Because part of the governing influence of the earth is sports. It's one sport, only sports that can bring an Arabian and a Christian together. They play in the same club, eat from the same table. The minute they begin to talk about Allah, Allah. I shared with the people in the Bible school because they are doing diploma, and my diploma took a new turn this year. Muslim religion came from where Abraham was born, the Ur of Chaldeans. In the Ur of Chaldeans are those that gaze on the star and the moon. They do know little wonder that the symbol of the Muslim religion is what? Star and the moon. But that was why God told Abraham, get out from there. And so what gave these people a religion is what God told one man to get out from. Which you know, dear? How many of you are holding on worthless things? That's where you put your destiny on. They have moon and star as a symbol of their destiny. And then they are taught to face an imaginary Mecca, wherever you go. It's still looking. This man, what is it called? Muhammad never went to Mecca. Mecca is not found in Saudi Arabia. Mecca is found in Samaria. The first Muhammad lived there. The second Muhammad lived there. The Muhammad that formed Islam is the third Muhammad, who had a friend or wife from the Jewish world, and the woman poisoned him. Those who live by what they can see, you want to start the Gesserit. You're only going back to a dead religion. When you make what you see now as how you judge, you will kill some people on Mahaibu. Because when you have malaria, you will dream the wrong ones. There is no relationship at all. Doctor, you never become a grade 1 student going around doing party. And when it is time in the morning, you go and pray and then go to class. They give you magic barrel. You will look like a foolish goat if the examiners set a worldwide a question. It doesn't answer to bureau, my magic bureau, none of that. That's what is confusing all of us. You go to a man, somebody who is civilized can go to a man and ask how to, because some of you here still believe in it. You go. When you're not a coach, oh, you're getting go. You get job on Monday. Nemo that corn on her bed. Nobody gives what he does not have. But only church folks will demand. Have you seen a pastor who does not have even a good elementary 6 certificate? It's the one that will tell you what God has said. And by the time you finish, I'm on that. Because this is not in your head. Some of the people you go to ask questions for, you know better than them. But how's that going to work? What a pastor here? Pastor is not a title that moves anybody. Pastor is an office. And the only way you know him is when he has knowledge. The mouth of a priest, a pastor, shall keep knowledge. It is knowledge that proves pastoral business, not I'll worry. If a teacher cannot teach, then he has no place in the classroom. Everything in life operates that way. Everything you see here is as a result of something. Somebody did something for you to see what you are seeing. Where you are today is as a result of the actions you took positively. The one you will become tomorrow, stop looking for the next man who is hindering you. You are stupid. It's what is killing what they call church world. I was discussing with them yesterday. I said the church has not moved beyond the level where Catholicism kept us. Almost every church is Catholic, including Pentecostals. Okay, Pastor Melungene, you may not have heard this from me before. Do you believe in the Apostles' Creed? Huh? Do you believe it? Who wrote it? Huh? Man, which man? The Catholic wrote it. And you believe it. Who are you? Pentecostal Catholic. Anglicans, they may say they are Anglo-Saxon. It's a lie. They are Anglo-Catholic. Because Romans put their own Roman Catholic. So England wanted to do Anglo-Catholic. Anglo-Saxon. It's competition. Let me ask you, who started the movement of the Protestant church? Anybody knows? Martin Luther. If you guess that, you guessed right. Did he retire as a Catholic before he died? So he died a Catholic, the head of the Protestant church. The man that supported him is the King Henry, King Henry of what? 8 of England. King Henry died a Catholic. Can you hear Sarah? The man had no control over his libido. Anglican church. The ones that left Anglican church went to start one in America. What do they call him? Episcopal. From that movement, Zion, Methodist and all that, watch, they all believe in the creed. What did they call it? If you believe, Assemblies of God is in Harbour first this, because that's all kind of thing we like to hear. And you was first church, go to the second church. It is not the man with the vest of number 1 that wins the race. It's the man who breasts the tape first. So if you wear number 1, also make your vest will not give you the mirror. It is what you did coming out there first. We have names all over that have no power in it. We have forms of godliness that does not have power. I told them yesterday, I said Saul was asked to go and wait for Gilgal for God to establish the kingdom. Is that not true? Talk back to me. Because the establishment of the kingdom is not by your position. Say, go wait. You have been anointed but not empowered. You have been anointed but not enthroned. So you need to allow God working on you and with you for a perfect time. Number 7, it's not days. Then when I show up, I will see whether you have the power to rule over the kingdom. The man showed exactly who he was. And God said, I thought I would have used you. But now the kingdom has been taken out of you to give to a man who is better than you, a better neighbor. Your better neighbor can be your son. That's the meaning. Because if you look at that better neighbor of David, it's his son who slept with his wife. Am I talking to you? Please listen to me. Romans chapter number 6 verse 23. What did it say? The wages of sin is what? What is sin? Rebellion. Once you rebel against a constituted authority, it's called sin. The first time I mentioned that was in the garden. And the product of that same people had to sin again. He told Cain, why is your countenance fallen? If you did what? If you did well, I would have accepted it for you. Ngumwa broke with the law. Every lawless person will see this, will find punishment. You will never be satisfied in your life. Watch. Every time before the closing of this meeting today, we'll take a mission statement and vision statement. This is who we are. Any day you go against it, you are the one that will be complaining. Oh, you may succeed in taking some people out. We are still here. But we told you from day one, this is where we belong. This is how we operate. This is our modus operandi. If you go against it, things will begin to fight you and you begin to complain. You say, he that breaketh the hedge, what will happen to him? The serpent will bite him. What is a serpent? Deception. Serpent na tago ba juan. Ebe ki ge binofia. Any day you break a law, there's a consequence that will keep you uncomfortable. Genesis 8:22. These are simply scriptures you know. As long as this earth remains, you know what he said? That is the law of nature. He's introducing the law of nature. As long as this earth remains, and what is the long? As long as this earth remains, as long as you live, this is the governing law of the earth. Whatever you sow, you will reap. As long as this earth, every destruction is inherent in that law that governs it. You don't need somebody. The church is full of people who are chasing demons. The devil is not your problem and can never be your problem. The devil is not a problem of man. All my staff says, listen, any day you make a mistake, look for a way to correct it. Cut short the problem. If you employ a bad staff and he's spoiling your things, sack him. But not when you have committed all manner of atrocities before him. You don't have to say, oh, my God. But if you are free and the guy is doing this, what do? Get out. I learned some things the hard way. I will never give my money to a quack anymore. It was the final seal on it. I did it this year. I don't care what you see. You can be my immediate senior brother, my immediate junior brother. I will dash you money if I have money to you, but I can't give you my job. And when you mess it up, I begin to cry. To who? Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever you tolerate, you can't terminate. Don't be deceived. Whatever you tolerate, you will live with. It is wisdom for me to tell you, once you take 20,000, go. Cannot. Then allow you kill what I'm doing. Consequences. Consequences. Proverbs. Okay, Genesis chapter number 2, verse 16 and 17. Genesis 2, verse 16 and 17. Very simple scriptures. These are things that govern the earth. The men are there. Don't allow me to shout again. Otherwise, I'm janjam na bia wore. Umwari aka wa busu na abia nkoro ka yakoto dia. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree in the garden thou mayest freely eat. 17. But the tree of the knowledge and good and evil thou shalt not eat. This is the consequence if you eat it. For the day you eat thereof, you shall die. Now please listen. Did God say if you eat it, I'll kill you? Did God say so? No. Every commandment, every law carries the punishment inside. God does not need to come and tell you again. There is a law. If you go against the law of any nation, it is not the judge that throws you away. It's the law that's sentencing you. The judge and the lawyer just there after you are dogon to renchi. Say, well, this is what the law says. Do you get what I'm saying? As long the day you eat this, you shall die. There are consequences for taking in wrong theologies. There are consequences for following a bad company. Proverbs chapter 13 verse 20, what did he say? He that walks with the wise shall be wise. A companion of fools shall be destroyed. Foolishness is a destroyer. Iberibe, bom. The choice to live great or small is your choice, not God. First Joshua chapter 1 verse 8. This book of the law shall depart not from your mouth. You shall meditate on it day and night to observe and to do. Is that not true? Then you shall have that word, observe and do it. You shall have good success. In other words, if you refuse it, success is not your part at all. Even though I have given you the land. He said, look, be courageous, I've given you a land. Why would God give you a land and ask you to contend for it? I told you in this church, there are no free lands anywhere. Don't allow people confuse you. There are no free lands anywhere. That place you want to go, doctor, somebody's already there. There are pharmacies, but don't allow anybody to despise your youth. Your youth is not your age, where you are now. You are going to grow better than them, so don't allow them to use what they are now to confuse you. If you are made up to be a good pharmacist, which I know you will be, otherwise I can't go. You pay the price to get whatever. Nothing just happens. Look at your neighbor and say, nothing just happens. Stop being stupid. Nothing just happens. Nothing. Whatever you work will work it. All things will work together for good. Good and bad, if you are a worker. Did you hear what I just said? Put me there, Proverbs chapter 23. One of the things I like sharing. Proverbs chapter 23, 1 to 3. Proverbs what? 23, 1 to 3. When thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently. Most of us don't think through before we do anything. We just do it and go back to complain to who? So when you sit with a ruler to eat, consider what he said before you. Let it think through. Give me the next one. And put a knife over your throat. If thou be a man that is given to appetite, you get to a place, you're eating with a ruler, those who are in charge of places, control your appetite. Control it. I remember one day I was eating with my grandmother. I watched the woman after swallowing. She will roll her bolus like this. Donya mporaka. Wolezi anke sobie. Odana na no for na me kombi. Ane ni anya naka. Ocha. Pastor ejebe ta ota. Obuta osota donya mporaka na sisi. Wolezi anke ozo je ni me na ato azu agaji no ya. So say ota ke se me ha. 18 manya ka te ya ikomo kwanaka. Ta. I don't forget that story. I'm eating with a ruler, and I didn't consider she's a ruler. She's the one in charge of that thing. And so I changed the combine. I got a garage. I'm going I don't know what I got. Said no. Verse 3. Be not desirous of dainties, for they are deceitful meat. Whatever is said before you, food is also words. Whatever somebody is teaching you, be careful. Watch what you hear. Because if it gets into your subconscious, before it goes away, it takes time. There are some things. When God said to Adam in the garden, when they ate this fruit, what happened to them? What happened to them in the garden? Their eyes were open. How would you before? Friends, it goes to register in your consciousness. That's what they call the eyes of your understanding. It's your consciousness. Check now, even though you were born again for 20 years now, something, there are certain things that still come out once in a while. Sometimes you'll be showering like me. The old songs we sang as little boys in Kaduna, He come up to play. And I find myself singing, even I don't want to sing. Where is it coming from? Your conscience never dies until you die. Your subconscious, it never dies. Your consciousness can die. That's why you can not be conscious of something, it falls. But what is registered in your subconscious will be there till you die. It takes power to erase it. That's why a man can be born again one day, but it takes a lifetime to change his heart. I was telling him yesterday, when Jesus came, he was not coming to tell you about God. He was coming to tell you that you missed it the first time. You believed a lie that took who you are away from you. Something else entered. That's the only channel the devil is. So when you get to a place and the teachings are saying something, beware of what you take in. Whatever comes your way, think through first. Before you take any action. But telling you, because every action has its own consequence. What you call the devil now is what you carelessly did to yourself. You know women that are multipliers. Is that true? God made them so. If you give woman good money, what do you get when you come back? Even though no one can take it again. But if you give her trouble, what do you get? Just the way you put seed in her belly and get child, it multiplies, it ropes it and brings it out and you have a child. Give her trouble. On my phone, I will also she will say one thing that will keep you uncomfortable until a man in Jakaga to all. If in Kasef, you will always be saying something because they told you here and it's coming back. That's how life is. Beware of what you're doing. Most of the things you call the devil is not, the devil has no hand in it. 2 Samuel chapter number 12. Let me show you a little bit of consequences before we continue. 2 Samuel chapter number 12, 7 to 12. This is the story of David. When he took the wife of his houseman, the one who supported him, the one who will kill himself for him, the one who will go out to do the things he was supposed to do that he didn't do. The Bible said in the days when kings went to war, David tarried at home. Don't leave anything you are supposed to do for some other person. There are things you can do, there are things you must do. Don't allow yourself to shift your own problem to somebody. You will not like what will come out of it. In these days when everybody wants to rest from what? Are you there? And Nathan said unto David, thou art the man. Thus saith the Lord God of Israel. Lord God. Heaven has invaded this man. That mistake was the costly one. Lord God at the same time. I anointed you to be king over Israel. I delivered you out of the hands of Saul. 8. And I gave thee thy master's house and your master's wife into thy bosom. And I gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. If that had been too little, I would moreover have given unto you the such and such things. Go ahead. Wherefore hast thou despised my commandment of the Lord to do evil at my sight? You hast killed Uriah the Hittite, your servant, with a sword, and hast taken his wife to be your wife, and hast slain him with a sword. Of the children of Ammon. Now, therefore, consequent upon that, the sword will never depart from thy house, Because thou hast despised me and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up against you thee out of thy own house. I will take thy wives before thine eyes and give them to thy neighbor, that's your son. And he shall lie with their wives in the sight of the sun. For thou didst seek what thou didst secretly, I will do before all Israel and before the sun. The consequences of moral thrombosis. If you are not Obasanjo, what are you looking for the wife of your son for? The only Obasanjo will comfortably sleep with the wife of his son and have excuses to tell the world. One moment of unguarded behavior. Because he was not supposed to be at home when he stayed at home. And he gave himself room to see what he's not supposed to see. And what happened to him? He gave this man a letter bomb and asked the people to withdraw from him, and they killed him. Letter bomb. How did that end? How did it end? Nathan walked in. There was a man who took some a little goat and the other. David jumped up. This man, David, jumped up from his throne. This man was there. I said, before you conclude, you are the one. And now told him the consequence of what he has done. He said, you just did this in the secret. It was the son who took his wife to the roof of the house. But cinema, that's cinema. Next thing, he said, because you did this, a sword will never. The first sword that didn't happen in him was that boy died. All of his children died. Amnon and slept with his sister. If he made mother, Amnon slept with his sister. And not only he disgraced that girl. Until today, the sin of David is the reason why many swords are coming into Israel. Be not deceived. Whatever you do has consequence, good or bad. The joy you are enjoying today is because you took some risk one day. Put yourself away from your comfort zone. Some of us would not have had somebody to train us. I have 3 doctorates myself, but I never went to an organization. I was schooling from a distance. All degrees I had from a distance. But it's because I took myself out. I said, well, my father has a right to say he cannot train me, but I also have a right to say I will train myself. When you say, small brain. Everyone I knocked on the door to help me pay school fees, doctor, came back to me to ask me to help him one way or the other. God will prepare a table before you wear in the presence of enemy. He said, don't kill your enemy. Tell the deliverance ministers why you have many enemies. So it's those people that will grace your table. When your friend who said you are not going to be anybody brings his son, what is it? He's preparing a table before you in the presence of enemy. When you say yesterday, God is preparing a table before you. Is it no better than asking the man to die? Let my enemies live and see what the Lord will make out of me. The death of your enemy does not change you, doesn't make you anything. But if God allows you to come and eat your words, is another way to elevate me before your eyes. That's why I say, sin not where you are angry. That's a place where your anger stops. Even the man who will tell you, you give him something, you put a coal of fire on his head. Because you are keeping a coal of fire on his head. So because you did this, consequent upon that little ugly act, sequel to that stupid behavior, so the sword will never depart from your house. Now, if David got up and said, "The Lord, why?" Did you notice he prayed? Religious prayers are very sweet. He was praying for the child to live. When you get for this, was you know what David did? And when you and when this child, when God said that child will die, and somebody summoned courage because Ezio Kwabro mad in the womb, mad in the womb. Who will carry fire in his bosom and not be burnt by it? That's what the Bible says. David, Naigu, the son is dead. He got up and washed. Somebody needs to tell you the truth for you to get up and do what you must do. Stop being religious. Religion is the worst thing anyone can have. And the present church is gone to hell. Instead of you working on your health, finding the things you are eating that is wrong, that you change, what will you do? You come and put fasting for 7 days. What has fasting got to do with when you have not found the root of your problem? You swallow the stone and you are praying. Meanwhile, the next day you are going to swallow another one. And you are asking God to do what? Be not deceived, friends. God will not do what you must do. God has a part he will do, and now you have a part what you will do before God can save you. If you join this war to pray for everything does not answer to prayer. Did you read the book of James? He said, when you meet a man who is hungry, and he comes to your house, you have food, don't pray. What he is asking for is not prayers. What does he need? Do a plate of gari, make coffee and now, brew 1 cup of chilled water, that man will be revived. But this year, Lamos Kopedi Bibia Katus Melaba, Biko arise and walk. You just put a bigger burden on him. First Kings. First Kings chapter number 13, 11 to 24. I'll paraphrase here, but I know you know the story. Take it in your paper, you can read when you get home. First Kings what? 13, 11 to 24. It's the story of the prophet, the young prophet. This young man came into Tisa and did some great miracles. And before he came, God told him, do not eat in the land. I am one man that was told not to eat in this land. Don't allow the doctrine and teaching of this land to come into your teaching. Remain who you are. My mistake was, in my training program, I brought in all manner of criminals. Genesis 14, Abraham went to war with children trained in his house. He armed them, they went to war with him. That's why they brought his brother Lot out. Went to war with people who are looking at my hair. Don't you get so gentle? That's the mistake I made. And that makes me human. He came to the city and they said, don't eat in this land. Another prophet came. I said, me too, now God, we all know. God, as you the prophet, I said the prophesy now. Oh, but yeah, you did. And then this man sat back. A prophet who deceived him had the same prophecy from him. Yes, because you believed a lie. The prophecy of that lie also will come from you. But if you had God and you didn't go back to God when they tell you, that's the reason for your death. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Freedom is not a day where you will not have challenge. Freedom is you will get to the point. You will know what God said you must be. And you will stay with them irrespective of anybody's opinion. Yes. You believed a lie before, so hear the truth now. That's what it's told. It was referring to Adam in the garden. You believed a lie about yourself. Now I'm telling you now. The word Adam is Ishi. That's the Hebrew word for the word Ishi. Adam is not the name of a person. Adam is the name of a multi-membered man. Call it the 1 million, 3 billion people on 7 billion people on the earth now. That's the meaning of Adam. He was talking to everybody in one body. So this boy went down, and young men, listen to me very much. Acquiring a set of tricks and techniques is good, but also learn that those techniques put your individuality to your own. Whatever you are doing, give it a stamp of your own, so that you know when you are standing out and when you are doing what you're doing. You're not doing what everybody is doing. I'm not a general preacher, and I'm happy to say I am not. The Bible said, let every man run in the field wearing his collar. I know the field where I was called. I'm not preaching everything I see. My first grace calling was to make you stand on your legs. You remember the day we were talking to you? Somebody you worked for. You paid for the same thing 2 times. A truck. He was supposed to have that truck. He went back to the man. The man said, okay, I will do again. He did that. On the 3rd place, he came to me and said, Ruben, I said, do you believe in me? You sure? If I'm your father, I'm going to disorganize you. But I'm going to give you the best way in your life. Go take that key and give to that man back today. And come back and see me. Ruben, you can see in his face. How can Moto Nkwesirimwe go for many years? Require 2 times. This man actually said, if you don't give that key to that man, you will die there. You'll be sweating for nothing. Take that key and give it. Take. The man collected the key. I said, Ruben, watch me. I put a seal of the Father on you. If by 6 months you don't get it, knowing what you have on ground, know that I'm not your father. So not only will you progress, this thing will bring you honor and dignity. He accepted it. For some months he sweated, and before he had his own. And when there was something, a ride came my way. I said, go pick that thing for a cheap cost. It will lift your honor. And every day, that is what I shout at him. I want to see the second one. I want to see the third one. It's more really. I said, you don't kill yourself over nothing. The man, what did the man tell him? The man, each time he sees him now, he's on the run. Everything in life is a byproduct of one action you took. May you do the right thing at any time. Today is a free man. He was made the secretary of the listen. When the thing said, he said, what do you think about it? He said, resign from there, don't stay with them again. They tried, they said, no, I don't want again. I will be a member, but I don't have the thing. After some days, they are now calling him for another one. He asked me, I said, no, just judge your heart. If it's convenient with you, do, but that first one, leave it. They're still begging him to go back. Everybody respects his faith because of what he has done. Hear me. Every good action has its own consequence. Every bad one has its own consequence. You know the rest of the story. It was who? Absalom that slept with his father's wife in the public. And you know what happened to that boy? He that cursed his father, the Bible says his life will put up in obscurity. That boy hung on the tree. Cursed be a man who is under the tree. That's why when Jesus hung on the tree, people spat on him. Because they caused to be hanged out there. What I wear on my neck you call cross is a symbol of shame. This is not the cross of Jesus. This thing. It's not what the cross is. The cross is the suffering and death, dying for what others did. That's the cross. This is a wooden thing that the Romans put. Anytime they go against, anybody who went against their government, they put him there. It was supposed to be a man hanging on the tree. Ecuador. That's what it is. But because the Romans saw this thing as the shape of a tree from the top, they took it to Calvary and put it there. That's why Calvary is another Garden of Eden. Did you hear what I just said? Calvary is another Garden of Eden. Of course, the word Eden does not mean a farm. It means influence of God. The Garden of God was the entry point of God to the earth for something. So that place became the influence. Influence means the light, where God shows his presence and delight. Eden can be somebody's name. When I explained it to Ogo, the CA before, they took their first daughter and gave her Eden. It means the delight of God. It has nothing to do with a place. On the Garden of Eden, you will find, how many trees were there? How many trees were in the Garden of Eden? I'm not hearing you. Talk back to me now. Many. It's a lie. There are 3 trees there. One tree is the tree that brings food. 3 is good for food. They're classed as 1. The next one is the tree of knowledge and evil. And the other one is the tree of life. If you go to Golgotha where Jesus Christ was crucified, how many trees did they put there? The one that housed the thief, the one that has the Jesus, and the one that kept who? The criminal. And the good man. How many trees would you see there? That's the shadow of Adam. Amen. Whatever you do, there's a price to pay for it. Whatever you do wrongly, there's a price to pay for it. Hosea chapter 8 from 1 to 7. From 1 to 7. I'd like us to read this. Read it. Hosea chapter number 8, 1 to 7. Are you still breathing there, sir? Hosea chapter number 8, 1 to 7. The trumpet, set the trumpet to thy mouth. He shall come as an eagle against the house of the Lord. Is it okay if I explain that for you? Talk back to me now. So many people are sleeping. Tell those people who are sleeping, this is, you can't leave your bed and come to sleep in church. All those people who are sleeping, what did you come here to do? Under 2 hours, do you have sleeping sickness? I went to the doctor about talk about. Set the trumpet to thy mouth. What does it mean to set the trumpet? Speak. It's another word for speak. The trumpet is the word of warning. Blow the trumpet and sound what? An alarm. It's the warning. The church does not know. If you say you come to the feast of trumpets, it's the feast of so many kinds of words. So many kinds of teaching, so many kinds of presentations. He said, blow this one. Set your mouth, and it shall come as an eagle. What does it mean coming as an eagle? Whenever an eagle leaves the sky and it sees what is going to pick there, the speed with which it comes down to pick that thing is more than 40, 45, 50 miles per hour. So when he said, play the trumpet to your mouth, it shall come as an eagle, it means it will work now. Oh, boy. I'm losing you to sleep. I'm losing you to sleep. Did you eat beans this morning? Ekwonike? As an eagle to the house of the Lord, because they have transgressed my covenant and trespassed against my law. Give me the other one. Israel shall cry unto me, my God, we know thee. Go ahead. Israel had cast out the thing that has is good, the enemy shall pursue him. A wicked man seeketh rebellion. A cruel messenger will be sent after him. He said, because you left for them, you have done what? Now you will cry. What does it mean to cry? What does it mean to cry in the language of the Bible? After shedding tears, cry means to pray. Haven't you heard that when Moses saw that this, he cried unto the Lord? Is to pray. Now, he said, well, they have set kings, but not by me. They have made princes, they knew it not. And the silver and their gold have they made their idols. Does that speak like the church today? Don't we have pastors that don't know anything? What do we worship? Is it not money? Silver and gold have become idols we worship. That they may be cut off. Go ahead. Thy calf, O Samaria, had cast thee off, and thy anger is kindled against them. How long will I be ere they attain to innocence? Go ahead. From Israel was it also the workman made, and therefore it is not God, but the calf of Samaria shall be broken to pieces. For they have sworn by the wind, and they will reap their what? They have sworn to the wind. They will do that. They will reap wild wind, and it has no stalk. The board shall be yielded on mills, if so be it. The strangers shall swallow it up. Now listen, what is that? Because you deviated from God. And how did they deviate? They made strangers their king. You attend to a pastor that knows nothing. He's not a pastor, it's not anything, but you ask the person you give, he's a stranger. But it's the one that is speaking to you as your king. If you don't know where that interpretation came from. He said, listen, the mouth of a king, a priest shall do what? Keep knowledge. Because what? He is the king of the people. So when he mentioned king, there's not the one on the throne, he's the pastor that you believe on wrongly. He said, now what has he done? He has led you to sow in your flesh. Sow to wind. What is wind here? What is wind here? Somebody sowing to wind. Unproductive ventures. You sow to the wind. And what will he say? He said you will reap wild winds. How many of you are back on this journey that has nothing inside you? He said they sow to the wind. Anyone who sows to the wind is going to reap wild wind. If you look at yourself and check the kind of things that interest you, the things you chase, you run after, you find that they have nothing to give to you later. Most of you are embarking on ventures that cannot bring anything. Why do you do it? Because it makes you feel good. That it makes you feel good does not make it right. Don't waste your time doing nonsense, because you will reap nonsense. Because when you get to that place, it will not make sense. You wasted all your time, lived all the thing, thinking that you're going to be somebody, only to get there and find out what you have been wasting is your time. And it's in Ekwensu, there's no devil anywhere attacking you. It's a lie. You just didn't think properly when you are doing what you're doing. See, I said this, and I want to say it to everyone in this church who is an artisan. Everyone in this church who is a CEO. Everyone in this church who doesn't. Listen. Not improving yourself has its own consequence. Excellency, the school system now is not what it was before. Do you know it's not going to be the same? By the time you are turning 60 or 70, you find out the school hours going in. What if you don't improve yourself to meet that time? There's a man they call blind Bartimaeus. Who told him that Jesus was walking that way? He was a blind man, but he knew the road Jesus will cross in a day. Sometimes understanding the trend will bring you closer to greatness. Oh, understanding the trend of what you are doing will bring you closer to the next movement. Blind man Bartimaeus must be blind in his eyes, but he's not blind in his brain. He knew where the man was going to pass. He just came there and sat down. And as Jesus passed by, Lord, oh, what if he was in another road? What if he does not know the path that Jesus will cross? And I ask you today, do you know, have a picture of what tomorrow will hold? Are you looking into your life to check what tomorrow will hold? Or are you already saying, blind Bartimaeus stood by the way. There is no profession you find yourself in that cannot be improved. See, the reason why people are still struggling to get what some of them think is get what they come here. When they stay, they don't see it. One of them told me, he said, I said, I agree. Because of my case, I didn't come here to read you for. Till today, I'm still looking at theology from 10 years to come, 20 years to come. I called this man. I said, Moses, do you want to be alive with me? He said, yes. No, Dan. If you speak ahead of your time, the people will be looking for you to meet with you. But if you speak with their time, they will walk away, you will not know. Blind Bartimaeus stood by the corner. He knew when Jesus was crossing. He joined Jesus. And it became the happening thing there. Jesus! They said, shut up. A man with the current thing cannot be silenced. A man with the current truth. You can't silence him. About up to Zubi. Jesus! They said, shut up. So for we are. I know what I believe they don't know. Why you change too quickly? You don't even know what you're talking about. Jesus said, now wait. There's something in this boy's heart that requires not the blindness alone. Bring him here. And for the first time, a blind man joined the group of Jesus. So what do you want? Because some people can join a group and don't know what they're looking for there. He got there and said, what do you want? Now, I'd like to ask you a question. Did Jesus not see his blind eyes? He did. Why did he ask him, what do you want? Some people think that is the industry to make money. So everybody go culture in here, but everybody no sight here, which is taking control of his own destiny. But we are John Man's nation. The two eyes of a man is half his destiny. He said, do you want to be made whole? The man who was seated by the side of the road, and nobody became the center of the happening things, just for understanding trend. Are you improving what you are doing? Or are you seated there and you are lost because it's giving you cash? Do you know what tomorrow will bring in that field where you are? Have you planned out yourself what I intend to be tomorrow? You may be by the side of where everyone is crossing, it's like everyone has gone past you. But listen to me very carefully. The man who walks by the side of the road can turn himself around and start all over again. You can be the center of everything tomorrow. Let me tell you this. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, you may be putting other people into confusion. Do you know Samuel in the first Samuel chapter 8, 1-5? You can read the story when you get home. The children of Samuel. Now, I'd like to ask you a question before I say whatever I said. Why did the children of Israel demand for a king? You say to be like other nations. That's not primary. That's not the first thing. Which other one? Whose fault is it? She said, because Samuel's children are not following the footsteps. That is not that. The first reason was that Samuel did not train his children very well. He allowed the sin of his trainer, the mistake was trying to latch onto him. Eli did not train his children, so he got that error from his trainer. If I'm a thief, don't steal because I'm a thief. Pastor John in the team book, that's what I ask my people. So don't shout because I'm in the team book. I'm struggling to bring my voice down. Because I've been in this thing for more than 50 years. I was a coach for many years. You know, coaching, especially in martial arts, it goes with a lot of shouting. You don't know what I just said now. I'm talking the language of karate. Mate, stop. Hajime, fight. That's how we ought to be here. Mate! Yabe! The voice is always hard like that. So I came to the gospel. I tried to cool it down so many times. I will call it Joma, I will call Moses. Stop shouting. Samuel inherited that error from his master. You yourself, you know the errors you have. As a young man, I couldn't save 1 naira. I dash out, I keep. I don't save for anything. When my wife came, that was the first error I found in me. I said, yes. And she began to do some things. I see her save money, not my own. My own savings is investment. But to keep cash on the ground, I can't. Because every time I look at money, I see one thing that will be done. My wife was saying, but what about the rainy day? So umbrella. So when I was going, I found out that aside of her, I never had it. My wife my wife's mother is the senior sister to so many teachers. So what the father did was, as an Eze, very strong, rich Eze, he took all of them. Teacher. Had her uncle that just died last month, was the teacher, principal of the school. He sent them all to go there. They all passed through a teacher. They taught them Acacia signed his signature energy. So when my children began to grow, I saw this side and I liked it a lot. What did I do? I allowed my wife monitor that side. My wife began to train my children on how to manage money. She's a good money manager. Very good one. If I have 1/4 of that skill, you're going to get more, even so I allowed Amara and Samuel to go that way. So each time I see them spend, I say, at least they don't behave like me. If God puts you in my kind of condition, we can survive now. But I don't know how these children, what nature they carried out. I can't impose my nature on them. So they have to fend for themselves. Everything you see on earth is a consequence. It's consequence upon something. So my wife taught them that. If you threw 1 naira into Amara's hand now, before 5 minutes, he has gone to bank. She doesn't carry cash around her. And I found out that's what she learned from mother. Samuel either was not doing that. I said, Chineke, it's up to them. Now, but no more. John Ile. Every good result you see is as a result of a conscious taking action. It doesn't just happen like that. And because you believe it happens, that's why everything is in Wadibia. And then, because if the devil is as strong as the church has painted him, Jesus died in vain. What a career go school ya? Ekwensu mere m. Nwoke kunite mwa nwunye ya ntị. Ekwensu mere m. Nwaanyị nọkete tụtụrụ onye dobere ndụ kugbunyuo ya anya. Ekwensu mere m. That ekwensu must be a strong one. See, Deuteronomy 30:15. See, I laid before you today life and death. Do what? Choose one. The choices you make in life and acted upon is what is controlling who you are today. The right choices you made yesterday brought you to a good place today. The wrong ones took you back. The devil is not your problem. And let it enter your mind, let it enter Moses. The devil is not the problem, stop that nonsense. Don't compound your life and die for nothing. Don't bemoan your bad conditions. It's my story. Anytime I make a mistake, get up. Nobody led me. Even if somebody led me here, I took the decision myself. I acted. Now what do I do to change it? But sit down and do 7 years. The minute you get up and say, this is what I want to do, you have changed that condition. The failure and failure now. See, many of you cannot do anything like, Imago, my mom did this, my father did this. Those guys are dead and gone. You have your own life to live. Get up! The last decision you took brought you to where you are. If you take a better one, you'll get to somewhere better. Proverbs 18, verse 21. I want us to read this. Proverbs 18:21. Proverbs 18:21. Death and life are in the power of your tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Some of you are suffering the embarrassment of your careless talks. Some of you will be hated because of the way you talk. Of course, whether you talk good or bad, many people hate my voice. But it's the voice of reformation. Doesn't have to be sweet. Life and death and the function of your tongue. The choice you made and the way you said what you said is the reason why you're where you are. Turn with me to the book of Genesis chapter 49. Genesis chapter 49, 1-7 is a chain of the consequences of bad acts and good acts. Let's read from there, Genesis 49, verse 1. I like this very, very well. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you what which shall befall you in the last days. Just surely there is an expectation. And the expectation shall not occur. That's an end. Surely that's what? An end. And your expectation shall not be cut off if it's done right. He said, let me tell you what will befall you at the end. Gather yourselves together and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. Now, who is Israel? Who is Jacob? Hello? So gather and hear. No, turn back to 2. Get back to 2. I want to make a point there. Gather yourself together and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken to your Israel, your father. One man came from 2 places. What is he trying to pass across? Jacob is a man who has gone through process. I've gone through process of life. A man who has not gone through anything is not qualified to be had. Okoko is advising us. That's why I'm in the jam. Little boys who have not had any experience in life are your pastor. He's telling you receive it. He gave it a lot. Stupid boy. Allah take go 2,000 naira. Allah take go. In a jiffy, mother. God said to his children, manna must cease in your life. Joshua chapter 5. Manna must cease in your life so that you go back to the old corn. Because if your own hand cannot feed you, you'll be a slave to whoever give you food. He said, if somebody sets food before you, beware. Because whatsoever he says, after he's given you that food, you will obey. Together. I'm Jacob. I've gone through process. So I'm qualified to tell you what you will hear. Listen to Jacob, your father, and hear him so that you will live well. Source of life is the father. Give me 3. Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity, and the excellency of power. These are what firstborns carry. Every man here, don't joke with your firstborn. Because if it's good, others will follow suit. Don't joke with your first daughter. Kobia, kayem, akuretu. Kobia until God kote your mother. Because the person that opens the womb has the leadership direction for others. Look at what this boy carried, Reuben. Look at the quality. And that's what your firstborn comes with. Because everything you have is in him. Except if he's a bastard. And there's no person called bastard in land. Lawyer, Nigerian law doesn't approve bastard. Everybody has a father. You can't go to the law at court and say somebody is a bastard. Ezoku. Huh? Ezoku. You have room for bastards in court? There is nobody Shiran Kupata. No other thing can reproduce human beings except man. Unstable as water, thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed, then defiled it. He went to my couch. Go ahead. Look at Simeon. He said, you have all these qualities, but because your heart is not, you don't listen. When you can afford the whole girls on the street. When there are so many girls on the street, and the true story is this. Should I give you the background why he did it? Should I? I'm a teacher, so if you want to hear, I'll give you. This girl in question was the maid to the first woman. Maid to the second woman. What is her name? Rachel. So, because Reuben came from the first one and he felt that the father was not treating him well, he decided to begin to intimidate this girl before the father dies. So, I won't give you a place here. And the maid became afraid and began to sleep with him. And when the father heard it, he laughed. Is that what you're going to do to a maid in my house? He said, because with all the qualities you have, you look at the great qualities you possess. Look at what you're acting like. You're a great man behaving like a dog, behaving like a toy. And that describes Christians. When you're born again, the worst people to relate with are born again. The worst people to relate with are Christians. You don't find one faithful one. They're all fair weather people. So look at all the might you have. The excellency of might, the excellency of dignity. But you are unstable as water. When you trust, when you questionally trust, you say you will not excel. Watch every man that is like that. If you have nothing to believe on, believe in yourself. A man who believes in nothing will become nothing because he will die for nothing. It's unstable as water. So many people here cannot be classified. And that's why You can't place them anywhere. They have no place in life. I don't mind if you make mistakes. If you make mistakes, we'll correct it. But you do nothing, you stand for nothing. You are the worst person around us. Are there people here? Watch him. He will dance to this person, he dance to the other person. At every time he wants to be the good man, innocent to the Gembele. If nobody can pin you for who you are nobody. Simeon and Levi, brethren, instruments of cruelty. They are give me back that thing. Give me back that. Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitation. Give me the other one. Oh, my soul, come not unto their secret, unto their assembly. My honor, be not united, for they are in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they digged down a wall. What is the wall they dig down? That's a wall of protection that they broke down. I'll show you how they broke it. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will do what? I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. In other words, they will not have an identity. They will have no placement in me. These were two people that made Joseph go to Egypt. That made him go to Egypt and took Ephraim and Manasseh to replace these two people. These were priests. Somebody came to your church and decided to follow you. The only mistake he made after he got born again, you killed him for it. How many of you take advantage of brothers and sisters? Pastor John, how many persons have you taken advantage of just because they come to sit down there and God has privileged you to be their pastor? A man came, committed an error. They said, okay, if you want to marry my daughter, do you know people can be sincerely wrong? Tell this man not to be nodding his head in sleep. Otherwise, you go back. Sit up well, you are sleeping. You make what I think I teach look like it's a joke. See, somebody's following you sincerely, but one mistake he made is why you want to take him off, destroy him in the world. They slept with your sister, dinner, and they said, the sleeping with her, first raping her, is a mistake, but we'll join your faith to prove ourselves good. Whatever brings a man to church is a good thing. Whatever brings a man close to you is a good thing. But they like Pentecostals, or what was their model. They have their minds wicked, but they are saying, brother bless you. Now, when these people circumcised themselves, they were still bleeding. That was when they rushed in the night and killed them. Do you take advantage of somebody's weakness and kill him, and you still call yourself a Christian? Do you see the flaw in somebody's character? Does that make you a better person? They went in when they were in that pain and slew all of them. Jacob said, this is abomination against God. You will not have any placement in me again. That was how their names were taken off from the inheritance of Jacob. He said they are instruments for cruelty. They were cruel. Did you see the consequence? They have no inheritance in Israel. Somebody took their place. Let nobody. It can happen if you do it the wrong way. One ugly act can make somebody replace you. One ugly path can take you away from the path of good destiny, and somebody will be sought to put in there. Give me the other one. Where is this boy? Cause me their anger for in the place. Bring me 8. Judah, thou art to whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be on the neck of thy enemies. Thy father's children shall bow before thee. Why? Judah was disgraced. You know he slept with this, and Judah behaves like David. He slept with his son's wife. But when he remembered and knew that that thing was an abomination, God exposed him. Because everything that has to do with him has been sold out. His signet, his staff, and necklace, which is his identity, his placement in Israel, and then his staff of authority that God gave him had been taken away. That's how bad one ugly thing can take you. It took it away, but God decided to come back to test him. So whosoever owns this, and the guy said, what's that? Tama. Say, whoever owns this is the owner of this child. He said, I have sinned. And never slept with her again till she died. Do you know that's the tabernacle of David? The tabernacle of David is those people who will do a bad thing, but when they find out the thing, they never try it again. God said, I'm going to raise a tabernacle in this kind of people. That's been the tabernacle of David. God, give me this. Go ahead, bring 9. The scepter shall not depart from thy head. Okay, leave that one now. Amen? I said amen. Amen. Taking advantage of people can bring destruction to your life. Hear this as I begin to think of how to close. One last reason, and we close. 1 Chronicles chapter 28, 9 to 10. 1 Chronicles chapter 28, 9 to 10. 1 Chronicles chapter number 28, 9 to 10. And now, Solomon, my son, know thee the God of your father. If you serve him with a perfect heart and with a willing mind, he will not searcheth all hearts and understandeth all. Go ahead. To heed thou now, for the Lord has chosen thee to build a house. No, that's not what you. That's not what I'm supposed to do. That's not what I'm supposed to do. I'm talking about the king of Tyre. Give me Ezekiel 12, 28. Ezekiel 28, 12 to 18. Okay, that's the scripture I was looking for. Sorry. Ezekiel 20. Ezekiel. No, I said give me Ezekiel 28. What's wrong with that boy there? Ezekiel 28. Is it? Yes? 12 and to 18. Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and said unto him, thus says the Lord, thou sealest up the son, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was fully upon covering the covering, the sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, and the sapphire. Thou art the anointed cherub that covered, and have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountains of God. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stone of fire. Thou wast perfect in the ways from the day thou wast created, till what? Iniquity was found in thee. By the multitude of thy merchandise, they have filled me with violence, and thou hast sinned. Therefore, I will cast thou profane out of the mountain of God, and will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. Now, this is the story about Lucifer. But the only place you will find it again in the book of Isaiah 14. When he was talking about the devil, he fell from that place. Now, my concern is human beings that I'm talking about now. There is nobody here who does not have a lot of goodies inside of him? Nobody here. If you turn inwards, you will not look at anybody. If you look inside yourself, the stones are the precious gifts of the Holy Spirit. The jewels in your spirit are the things that God endowed you with, that no man can take it away from you. But you see, with all these giftings in your life, like a cherub that covers, what does the cherub do? Whenever you see a cherub, you have seen God. And do you know Christians were created to be cherubs? Because your presence brings God to people. You were chosen generation, a holy nation, called out to do what? Show forth the glory, the praises, the influence of God in everywhere you go. But is that what we see? He said, this man, you carry the glory of God. You do so many things. What is the covering there? Every time you see a cherub, they are faced to, what are they covering? The blood on the distance, because that's the only thing God beholds to cleanse. And what is the blood there? The blood of the Lamb, Jesus Christ, that will save the world. That's why they face inwards, they don't face outwards. Every time they cover the blood so that the only person that beholds it without being contaminated is God. God doesn't see another thing except the finished work of Jesus Christ. He said, but you carry all this goodness in your life, and it was working for you. It brought you so much to so many places. But iniquity came into your heart. Lawlessness. You became someone who could transgress without body. He said, now you are going to be brought low. Sequel to that sinful nature, you will be brought low. Now listen, I'm taking it this way. Every one man who has a trouble, sit down and find out how you got there. The first thing to see is not the devil. Look at yourself from inside and find out what brought you there. If you have a quarrel with your husband, before you begin to whine your mouth too much, ask yourself, did I do everything right? If your wife begins to behave in a funny way, what did you first find out? What was it I did that made her behave like this? Did you hear the Igbo? Anytime you get up and say, you only speaking like a child. A child went up. I remember Samuel and Amara. I was rehearsing it when we were going. Was it the car with Amara? I said, do you remember? Amara will never give Samuel a breathing space. Samuel is so sweet-hearted that he doesn't like noise. He doesn't like going to a place and I come back in. If he comes to your house and you beat your children, he won't come again. Say, let's go there. Say, no, it's always between children. I don't want to go there. That's how peaceful he is. Amara came. Amara will meet Samuel sleeping. I got tired of tapping up. He will have a Samuel and I Samuel in the Samuel will get out from sleep. Mommy, I'll kill Amara now. The mother will always say, "One megula." And we will laugh. And Amara does not stop. Because, I don't know, at some point we become afraid. Sometimes if someone sleeps in the house, we call her Mama Nuku. She was stopped somewhere. She was restless. She's very independent. She does not go talk to anybody. Even to greet me on the road. If he comes, Daddy, Ekom. If he says Ekom, he has gone. For me to see her again, except I have a little cake up and cake in her. And she'll finish it and look for her mates. She doesn't follow her mother that much. It's the people in the house. They call her Nuku Miss or Mama Nuku. What am I to say? If you say they did this to you, what did you do? And every time someone beats somebody, that's where I was going. Every time someone beats somebody, they say, hey, mommy. If you get Samuel now, he slapped me. I said, what did you do? I'm with family. That's not lie. You slapped her. And when he just slapped me when I was sleeping. I said, I'm going to go. Every time you ask Kamara, why did you beat someone? It won't talk. But when you begin to hear her shout, "Mommy, Daddy, if you get somewhere now, if you get somewhere now, mind your fearful, mind your fearful." I say, "Oh, don't like one other." Joy again, away familiar. It is not true that what is happening to you is for nothing. Unless you want to be a child. Children will always say, "I didn't do anything that happened." But adults will look around and say, "What must I do to be saved?" Every action, every lifestyle, every word from your mouth has its own consequence. If you speak well, good words turn the heart. Bad words destroys the heart. The woman in your house is not somebody you lash on like you are lashing on toys. Your husband is not somebody you talk to. When you begin to do that, there are consequences. The houseboy in your house is not a slave. It's only that you are privileged to have what you have, and he does not have it. Maybe if the father has what you have, he would have been in his father's house. But what a joy that God brought him your way so that you can help him become somebody. I've seen men through boys who served them become great men. I know a man of Ondo. He took this governor at the tender age. They trained the dog governor, and the governor eventually grew and became this. When the man got to the governor's house, he sent for that man. That man visits him as their own father. Anytime they are coming, they use siren to bring him in. So what do they call him? Governor's father. But it's not the father, it's just that they trained him. Consequence. If you handle matters well, somebody somewhere can be the reason why you are where you are. Every good act has its own consequence. Every good lifestyle has its own consequence. If you live like a dog, you will get up with fleas. If you kill people, death will chase you. If you lift people, you will rise by your work. Hear this and hear me very well. Live a good life. Everything you do has its own consequence. Rise to your feet, let's pray.